In this lesson, you will find the area and perimeter of compound shapes. Our goal is to apply and extend previous understanding of area and perimeter to compound shapes. So many of us have probably looked at floor plans or backyard plans, and we wonder, how can I find the area of my house or backyard? Well, let's first review. We remember that the area of a rectangle is its base multiplied by the width, represented as area equals length times width. So in this example, of course, we can multiply 6 times 3 and get an area of 18 inches squared. And we can remember that, why is it square inches? Well, that's because when we find the area, we're really making a grid of squares. 3 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when we count them up, we can see that we have 18 individual squares. Now we can apply that to a shape like this, of course, when we have complex shapes. We can fill up the grid and we can see where that aligns. And that is what we are going to practice doing today. We can also review perimeter, of course, is the sum of all the sides. So we know that opposite sides are congruent. So we have 6 plus 6 plus 3 plus 3, or perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, which coincidentally enough is also, in this case, 18. But instead of square inches, it's just 18 inches for the perimeter. In this case, of course, we have the perimeter that we would add up all around. So let's look at our first example, backyard. Joshua is completing backyard remodeling. First, he is replacing the grass in his backyard for elfin time. Then he will replace his fence. His lawn measurements are listed below. How much elfin time does he need? How many feet of fence should he replace? Well, we can look at this figure, and some of you might say, well, Ms. Salvador, I don't have all the measurements for every piece of the perimeter or to find the area. And that's because we do have to use the power of deduction. So looking at our first piece, we have 24 feet. We need to know this section. Well, we know that the bottom entire section is 30 feet. And of course, the opposite sides are congruent. So if from here to here is 24, from the other location, I know that it's going to be the difference of 30 and 24. 24 plus 6 is 30. So I have my first measurement. Then I need, of course, to find another piece. I need to know the length of this side. Well, again, I know from the top to the bottom, because of 27, it is 27 feet. I know from here to here it's 18. And so from here to here, it's the difference between 18 and 27. And I know that 18 plus 9 is 27. So now I have a few extra measurements. And now I'm going to clean up the picture for you a little bit. So now that I have all my measurements, I can first find the perimeter. The perimeter is going to be the sum of all the sides. Well, I have 30 feet of fence here, 27 here. So I have 30 plus 27 plus 24. Then I have 18, 6, and 9. Which when I add them all together, I get 114. So my perimeter is 114 feet of fence. So that's my fence. Now I need to find out my area. And of course I remember that area equals length times width when dealing with rectangles. And I have a few options here. I can split this into rectangles this way, or I can split them into 2 rectangles this way. Technically, I could even split it into 3, but it's a little bit easier to avoid making too many. And in this case, for me, I'm going to choose focusing in on these 2 rectangles. So when I have a look at my shapes, I have one rectangle that is 24 feet by 18. Not 24 by 27 because that is this entire side. So be careful with things like that. And I'm going to add the area of my other shape, which is 30 by 9. And again, that's because the width is 9. So now I'm ready to multiply, then add my results. So first I can multiply 24 times 18, and I would get 432. Then I can multiply 30 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27. Add the 0. And then I can add my totals together. 432 plus 270 is going to give me an area of 702 square feet of elfin time. So that's how I can find a compound area as well as a compound perimeter. Remember, you do need to use the powers of deduction in order to find out the missing lengths, if any. So I hope that example helped you. Now it's your turn. You're going to find the perimeter and the area of the compound figure. Remember, there might be a couple of sides where you'll have to figure out using the difference of sides to find out a missing piece. Go ahead and take a minute to pause the tutorial and discover it now. In this lesson, you have learned how to find the area and perimeter of compound rectangles. Applying this knowledge can often help you in other fields, such as finding surface area. Looking at shapes as sections of a whole can often be a useful skill in many areas of mathematics. So make sure you're practicing this skill now. Great job again!